Let's continue with common law present and future interests. Let's dive a little deeper into remainders. So in our previous example, we had A, B, and C. And we said that B had a life estate because of the language that said to be for life. And we knew that C had a remainder because its interest followed B's life estate, and the language said then to C. But what we didn't know, and what we're going to talk about more in this video, is whether C had a vested remainder or a contingent remainder. I'm going to write those down right now here so you can see. Vested or contingent. And I've always looked at it as two aspects that neither can have or have. And so vested and contingent are basically polar opposites. And so if something is a condition precedent, then it's contingent. If it's not a condition precedent, it's vested. If something is unknown, it's contingent. If it's not unknown, it's vested. And so I'm going to write those down in blue, and I'm just going to say condition precedent, question mark. I'm going to say 1 and 2 unknown. So what's a condition precedent? Well, let's look on this example earlier. So in this case, LE, the life estate, to B for life, remainder, then to C, there's no condition precedent. There's nothing, I'm going to put it in black here, there's nothing in between this language that would prevent C from taking possession immediately after the life estate. So in this case, C has a vested remainder. But if there was language that said, let's just do this, A to B to C, and in this example here, I'm just going to underline this in green and say LE, life estate. But with B, I'm going to change the language, and I'm going to say then to C if C moves to Los Angeles, let me just say LA. The following language, if C moves to LA, is a condition precedent. And what's a little tricky sometimes is that when you're rushing through something, and I made this mistake a lot, you think, oh, it's not before the word then, thus there's no condition precedent. Well, that's not the case. It's something that has to occur before C can take possession. And in this case, it's if C moves to LA. And so whenever I'm diagramming these things on an exam or in class or on an exercise, I'll take this language, I'll box it off, and I'll move it in front of the word then to C because it's a condition precedent. And so B has a life estate to B for life. And if C moves to LA, then C can take possession. So another example, now that's a condition precedent, right? So that means that they have a contingent remainder. Another example would be, I'm going to say A, B, and C. And I'm going to underline B again, say life estate. And I'm going to say this language for C, then to C's heirs. And now I'm actually going to circle C's heirs in yellow because this is actually a little thing that I think everyone trips up on. And I know I made this mistake too. C's heirs, C cannot have heirs if C is living. C only has heirs if C is dead. So in this case, the language C's heirs is actually unknown because no living person has heirs. So I'm going to take this and underline this in orange and say question mark. No living person, I'm going to write that down, has heirs. So who are they? We don't know. C's, at this point, C's still alive. So this is a contingent remainder. Because no living person has heirs. And so we don't know who's there right now. So if you look at these examples, so I'm going to say this first one is example 1. And I'm going to put it in purple because it's a vested remainder. Why? There's no condition precedent. I'm going to say no. And nothing's unknown. To B for life, then to C. Vested, boom. C gets it as soon as B dies. I'm going to say example 2 here. And example 3 are in orange. Well, why is that? Well, if you look at example 2, 2B for life, then 2C if C moves to LA. But I like to look at it, and I like to move things around and look at it like this. 2B for life, if C moves to LA, then 2C, well, that's a condition precedent. And so, yeah, that's there. We have a condition precedent. This is a contingent remainder. And then if you look at example 3, 2B for life, then 2C's heirs, well, that's unknown. We don't know who those heirs are. C's currently alive. You can't have heirs while you're alive. And so it's unknown. So this is another example of a contingent remainder. And we're going to continue to dig a little deeper and talk more about remainders in the next video. So please go ahead and follow the next video in part 3, and we'll go look at it a little deeper.